Marriage is one of the biggest commitments you'll ever make.
Entrepreneurship is one of the hardest journeys you'll ever take.
And when you choose to build a business and raise a family at the same time,
you face challenges most marriages never have to navigate.
We know because we've lived it.
We've experienced seasons of misalignment, financial pressure, and moments where growth tested our connection.
Not because we lacked love, but because building something meaningful together requires conversations most couples aren't prepared for.
Welcome to EntrepreMarriage. I'm Myka.
And I'm Mahogany.
This podcast exists to help couples build wealth
without losing the marriage.
Let's talk about it. All right, y'all. Welcome back to an exciting episode of EntrepreMarriage. Today, we are kind of going back into that parenting type of episode, talking about some things that we kind of notice about parents and parenting and things that we kind of we're trying to implement with our kids and things that we've noticed. So I don't know, Mahogany, you want to start us off or you want me to start?
Well, I guess I'll start because it sounds like you didn't want to start. So yeah, parenting, y'all, as we all know, parenting is not an easy task at all. For those who are new here, we have a 10-year-old son and a 4-year-old daughter. Our children are public school attendees, and yeah, that's kind of just how it is. We don't have any outside children that we've had to parent, so can't really talk on that topic for any of y'all who want to hear how we've juggled that throughout parenting. I know there's like a lot of blended families. We'd love to hear from y'all on parenting at that aspect. But as for us, we share 2 children under our roof, and it's always a good time. It's always exciting. Our daughter is 4, like I just said, and so she's a lot younger than our son. There's a 6-year gap between the two of them, and they're completely different. Let me just say that. I don't know if it's because they're a boy and a girl. I don't know if it's because of the age gap, but it definitely is a roller coaster with my daughter and my son. It's just real smooth sailing type of kid. So I think it's interesting to talk about parenting and like what kid needs what and how to parent each kid. We had a family meeting tonight, just discussing plans for the week, things coming up in the family schedule, things like that. And I had let my daughter know that we're going to start implementing a reward system for her because we've noticed that threats don't work. The girl don't care. You could threaten her. You could spank her. You can yell at her. She don't care. Matter of fact, she'll say, if you do that, I'm going to scream. I'm going to cry. So, there's little things like that where you're like, wow, you're an interesting kid. My son would never.
Negotiating with a terrorist.
Yeah. So, we decided we're going to do a reward system for her and our son. I'm sure any kid would love a good reward, but for him, he is older. So we're going to implement allowance and stuff like that. So, just parenting in general. There's so many techniques. There's so much out there. I don't know if this way is the right way or not, if it's going to backfire. And we're going to raise horrible citizens, but no.
I don't think you're going to raise horrible citizens. I think that there's multiple ways to parent. Let's go into the backstory of how we came up with this episode. So both of our kids are in sports, right? And one of the sports leagues that our children are in, we noticed this parenting couple. And so basically this child is on one of our kids' team. I don't want to throw nobody out there. They're on one of our kids' team. They come out every week, right? But their kid never gets on the playing field. So I noticed it, and I was like, So, and I think Mahogany noticed it too. So this is like the 4th week, like the whole month, right? He just doesn't go out there. And I'm like, I wonder why they don't put their kid in the game. But we noticed today, and I've heard them say this before. They were like, well, he's just tired. I'm like, y'all drove all the way out here and dude tired. I'm like, bro, what he got, a full-time job? What is he tired of? Daycare and Cheerios? What is he tired of? Right? But me and Mahogany got to talking. We texted back and forth the whole time. I'm like this gentle parenting crap is BS to me. I'm not saying always, but Mahogany had a really good, not rebuttal, but Mahogany had a really good theory. And I was like, dang, that's a good one. But before she gets into it, I was just noticing sometimes I feel like, ooh, my bad. You have to pull certain decisions away from your kids and just put them out there because I feel like if you let them make all the choices, they have no wisdom behind that. I feel like we in an area where we negotiating with kids. No, not negotiating with you. Get out there on the field. Like, I'm not about to play with you. But I feel like even like we was talking about like even college choices. Like I said, I'm only paying for doctor, lawyer, engineer. You know what I'm saying? For college choices. But I'm pulling him down a lane to where he can be successful, and you pull certain things away. Like, you're not about to sit up in the house all summer doing nothing. You're about to be in some summer camps, invention camps, sports, doing something, right? And shout out to my supervisor. He sent me this article that showed 90% of CEOs in America all play competitive sports because it just gives you drive, hustle, learn how to lose, learn how to win, learn from things. But I'm just like looking at this, and Mahogany's first words were, man, I hate weak parents, right?
I don't know if I said hate.
Hate, but she was like, I don't like that weak parent stuff. But you had a really good rebuttal on like why you think gentle parenting exists, and I'll let you go into that.
Well, not why it exists, but
it
yeah,
was a really good take.
So, yeah, that kid in soccer, yeah, he definitely is always on the sideline, and if he's not, he's like kind of just running around. And I know they're 4, so I get it. They might be running around, but like, I don't know. I am a strict parent. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I'm pretty strict. So, you know, I feel like I'm pretty hardcore.
You're strict on our daughter.
Oh, I'm strict on our son too. Oh, yes, I am. Not as strict as you'd probably like, but I don't play with the kids like that. I love the kids. I'm TT Mo. I'm Mama Bear. But at the same time, like, I am, like, serious when it comes to the kids.
I am soft on our daughter. I'm harder on our son. If you think you're hard on him, okay.
Okay.
Well, go ahead.
I think I'm hard on him. But I don't know. Everyone in the comments, if you know me personally and you've seen me parent my son, please let me know in the comments. How is my parenting style? But anyway, yeah. So anyway, with the kid at the practice, that kind of had my mind kind of joggling. I just really think that, you know, parents who are like really extra gentle parents come from one of a couple situations. Either, and I don't mean gentle parenting like, you know, Johnny, get in the corner. I'm talking about, Johnny, you don't get disciplined ever. You might get a little pow or something, but, you know, you're fine. Like, I'm not talking about, you know, parents who are actually trying, but I'm not saying you got to beat your child's butt. Like, I'm not saying that. That's not what I mean. But gentle parenting as in, I don't know if that's gentle parenting. I think it's like letting your kid run all over you. Wouldn't even call it gentle parenting. I would call it like letting your kids run the shots. So I think parents who allow their kids to run the shots, parents who allow their kids to make serious choices that they shouldn't be making, especially at certain ages, I think those parents are unfortunately from a group of people who either went through some severe abuse as a child themselves. Maybe they experienced some like traumatic stuff, like getting locked in the closet and stuff, or like went through like a lot of different foster care systems and experienced abuse and things like that. So they're like, when I have my kid, I am going to let them be themselves and completely just like do what the hell they want to do. And you know, for any people who are victims of these things, I'm not mocking. I'm just saying this is something that I've noticed. I've been in social work for 10 years. I've seen a lot of households, and I know a lot of stories. So I've been able to kind of statistically come up with this math and this decision to say people come from that group of people are like letting their kids run all over them. Or another one are the parents who unfortunately have gone through like miscarriages. I start to see multiple miscarriages. A lot of times, a lot of parents who have experienced a lot of loss may allow their children to make, you know, more decisions that are, you know, kind of what they want to do and not do too much disciplining, whether it's physical or verbal or whatever. Because, you know, that's your pride and joy. That's your angel. And I get it. So there's that category. And I know I said just 2, but I thought of a third one. There are some mothers who do a very serious gentle parenting method because they are like victims of domestic violence within their own relationships or past relationships. You know, they already know what it's like to be abused, so they kind of just back off when it comes to taking a stance on authority in general. So come for me in the comments if you want to. I know what I'm talking about only because of the things I've seen, and these are kind of like the people who are raising a lot of children who kind of just do what they want. And that can have really severe outcomes if you don't get a hold of it, or have other people in their lives who will step in and be that guiding light that they need when it comes to doing the right thing or what they need to be doing.
Yeah. And I'm going to be real. I'm going to divert to you on a lot of this because you've been in social work. You've seen from child to adult, all types of different situations. Now, okay, with gentle parenting, however we call it, letting the child run the show, giving the child choices.
Too many choices. I like choices.
Too many choices.
But
me personally, I've seen
all the choices.
I've seen the product of that from my perspective. But like with you being in social work, like and just being in the cases that you've seen, have you seen children who have been allowed to give these choices, and how have they turned? Excuse me. How have they turned out?
So I can't really say like I've followed a child throughout the journey, but I have seen children like where they are now and how they're acting. And I would ask those questions, kind of like, well, you know, how are you disciplining your kid growing up, or how are you disciplined as a child yourself, to kind of get to conclusions. So what I've noticed is parents who go through that, they never really get, like there's people who do go through those things, but they get healing. So they get healed themselves. So then they can parent in a healthy way. But those ones.
Question is, if a child, let's say a child's gone through the gentle
how
parenting.
They turn out?
Yeah, how have they like turned out?
Oh, yeah. So, they usually turn out like, you know, juvenile delinquents, having severe like issues, like beating up their parents. I've seen kids who beat up their parents as a result of kind of how they were raised by their parents or lack thereof. When you can be there physically and buying food and stuff, but you're letting them run amok, you know, and throw stuff at you. And a lot of them also have their own behavioral issues because their parents themselves didn't get help for, you know, the things that they've went through. And so them themselves can sometimes have their own mental health issues that they grow into and turn out having to deal with. So there's so many different ways to go. I'm not going to say that you'll be raised by a parent who does this super soft, gentle parenting and you're going to be screwed. That's not always the case. There's some who make it out and they are still successful. I don't know that ratio or how that looks, but I know it stresses me out because I was seeing these kids in the store running and acting up and going under. And I'm not saying kids don't act up sometimes, but you also got the ones who are like, no, Mom, I'm going to get a sex change, you know, and they're actually doing it. Hey, like there's certain decisions you don't, you know, want to necessarily give to a child. You know what I'm saying?
And speaking of that, like I've seen like celebrities kind of get into that role of, oh, I kind of let my kid make their own decisions. I always pray I never get that rich.
Oh, you mean like, oh yeah, little Johnny, you can wear a dress today.
I don't ever want to be that rich. I don't ever want to be that rich to where I feel like a child can go and make their own decisions of
major decisions.
Yeah, major decisions. I don't ever want to have that much money in my life. If I ever get that much money, take it away. I don't even want it. Like that's crazy to me. But like to the point of where that's why I wanted to get at. Like I have seen, I would say not gentle parenting, but parenting with no structure and guidelines of this is what we do. Where it's like, I'm going to discipline if you do something wrong, but there's no guideline of anything. Of like, okay, what's wrong and what are you glorifying in the household? So I've seen that, but just the whole, and I don't know if that's gentle parenting. I don't know what to call that. But I've seen like the gentle parenting thing. I don't like the whole, I'm not going to make you get out of your comfort zone. That, what? Why you said that? Like, yeah, I just like, I don't like when I'm not going to make my child get out of his comfort zone. Like you got to get out of your comfort zone to grow. But we kind of did that. You did that with Malachi this weekend. And I'll let you go into
that's
that.
That's why I made the face.
That's what okay. I thought that was the reason why. But like, it's like when you're not going to force them to get out of their comfort zone, you have to push them through barriers while they're under your household before you start hoping they're going to push through barriers outside of your household. They're going to be stuck if you don't push them through barriers. They have to be, because that's what builds like grit, resilience, things of that nature. And that's why, like with the kid at the park thing, like when we was watching this kid, I'm like, y'all gotta kind of force him to, you know what I'm saying? And like, but also too, because you also said, you talked about the reasons that may be. Another thing, maybe it might be a behavioral issue too on the child's part. Yeah, and I had to kind of take that into account too. So I'm aware of certain factors, because you have to put factors in place. But then you got to also be like, well, dang, if any of those aren't the factor, then I'm like 100% against it. I'm like, no, push him out there. You know what I'm saying?
If it's anything besides those
Yeah,
things.
if it's anything besides those factors, you know what I'm saying? Because there's certain factors of why a person may need, like, for example, welfare. There's factors why people need it, and there's people that abuse it. But, you know what I'm saying? If these factors don't exist, get your butt out there and figure it out. You know what I'm saying? So,
and there are boundaries on it, too, because I remember, like, a time our son did 5 years of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Shout out to Alvarez Jiu-Jitsu in Arlington, Mansfield area.
Mm-hmm.
But he was in it for a while, and we pulled him out. And I know even before we pulled him out, he had wanted to stop going for a while. He was kind of over it. Around practice time, he'd be asking if he could just miss it or not go. And we kept making him go. Mm-hmm. But once he got braces placed in his mouth, like I didn't want to keep making him go, because after his first practice with braces, his braces, like he's rolling with kids on the mat, and his braces was hitting his lip and things like that. Mm-hmm. And he was already traumatized because this is a new kid with the braces and a bracket at the roof of his mouth. So it was a lot. And I'm like, hey, babe, I think Malachi should stop doing jiu-jitsu for a little while. And he was just like, well, no, I don't want him to stop because he's not going to be a quitter. And I'm like, well, his mouth is getting all messed up and it's not safe anymore.
Told you she's soft on him. But go ahead.
Yeah, I was like, it's no longer safe. And he's like, oh, that boy's okay. And so eventually I got to let Myka, it didn't take too long, but, he saw what I was saying. My baby's mouth all cut up because he's rolling with these people. But I am not that soft on him. This weekend we went to the fair in Grand Prairie and with some friends, and Myka didn't go, but me and another friend, we, pretty much got my son on this roller coaster. It was not even a roller coaster. It was just a ride that swayed left to right. Made him get on a couple rides that he wasn't really fond of. He likes to be on the ground. He's like a play it safe kind of guy. He didn't even want to go to the fair to begin with. He didn't want to go. He's like, no, I'm okay. I don't like rides. And so, got out there, there's kids like this tall on the ride. And I'm just like, oh, this is a safe ride. This is a good chance to get him out of his comfort zone. So he ended up getting on the ride, and he was traumatized for that time. Y'all, my poor baby. But, I felt like as a parent, it's my job, like you said, to push him out of his comfort zone. You're not going to die. And I got on with him. I was there holding his little leg, like, you're not going to die. You're not going to fall out, all these things. So he made it through, and I gave him a nice little pep talk about doing hard things or scary things and making it through. And it was a good learning lesson for sure. I know when I was younger, my mom made me get on a ride in Disney World that I didn't want to get on. It's the one where the elevator ride that would just drop and then come back up and keep dropping. It was super scary. I remember not wanting to get on, and the ride staff was like, ma'am, you can't make her get on if she doesn't want to get on. My mom said, shut up, that's my daughter. I can make her do whatever I want her to do. And told me, you better shut up and get on this ride. Man, I cleared my face up, and I got on that ride, and it was the scariest thing ever. I can't really say that I can recall it being just a memory or a learning lesson for me.
Everybody in the comments could be like, you have trauma. So get over it. No, I'm playing go.
Yeah, I can't, you're right. But yeah. So yeah, I know that people can sometimes parent through their trauma too, and that can be dangerous.
Yeah, and I think too, I think nowadays, everyone wants to avoid having their kid have trauma. I think your kid's going to have trauma regardless. But I think if you teach them grit and resilience, they can push through it. Mm-hmm. That's the whole point. I think when you just let them sit back and do nothing and not give them tools of grit, resilience, sports, something that teaches discipline, that's when they struggle with it. They have no coping mechanism. What does loss feel like? What does winning feel like? What is learning? You know what I'm saying? Learning not to quit. I think those are the things that make you push through trauma.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think, you forced, it might have been a traumatic experience. But remember after Mahogany told me about it afterwards, and I talked to him, I was like, so are you okay now? He was like, well, not really. I'm like, no, in this moment, are you okay right now? Well, yeah. So I'm like, so what were you had no fear. And I asked him, what does fear mean? He was like, it's when you're scared of something. And I'm like, no, And he was like, well, I don't know. I said, it's false evidence appearing real. You made up something in your head about this ride, and you let that fear overcome you. And then when you got off the ride, you have to now process, okay, I'm alive, I'm okay. But you don't let fear overcome you to where you're not willing to step outside your comfort zone, try something new, you know, because that's what we are with our kids. We want them to step outside their comfort zone. The 2 episodes before this, I think we talked about it. We want them to leave home, try something else, you know, be comfortable being away from us. But of course, that comes to us, the guidance part. Yeah. Like, you know how to guide them, you know, and I think we're doing a good job of that. And we're failing and learning. That's all it is with parenting. There ain't no perfect guidebook to parenting, right? But I'm not going to let you sit back and just do nothing. Like, nah, you about to go do something. I don't care, kick a soccer ball, getting coding, you know, something. And like, you know, I think our kids are on a right path, and we, you know, there's no perfect book, but you know, it's experiment. You got to try something, you know? So.
And earlier we were talking about, like, you know, setting foundations for things. I think if you can set the mindset foundation for your child, like, that's going to be the key. Yep. When we were on the ride, before the ride started, my son was already crying, like tearing up, like tears were streaming down his face. And I said, the ride hasn't even started yet. They're still letting people on. And I'm like, that means it's your mindset. Let's work on your mindset. Get that out of your mind. You're fine. You're safe. You're strong. You're brave. Let's go. You got this. Like, some of y'all might have caught the footage online where I was just like yelling, like, you got this. I had my son and another friend next to me, a little boy. And the little boy next to me, you know, he's like, let's go. And, you know, but he, you know, plays a lot of sports. So it's all about mindset. So, you know, our son, he's now starting to branch out in other sports and stuff. And so it's all about mindset with the kids and us as well, like as adults. It's always about the mindset. So I think if you can, like, establish mindsets and habits and stuff like that.
As we talk about building wealth without losing the marriage, one thing we've learned is that growth doesn't happen in isolation. It requires the right environment and the right people around you.
That's one of the reasons we decided to join Springboard to Wealth. It's a real estate investing community focused on mindset, strategy, and taking real action, not just talking about it.
Being a part of Springboard helped us think more clearly, move more intentionally, and stay disciplined in how we approach investing.
And for us, that matters, because when you're married and building, the decisions you make financially affect more than just you.
If real estate investing is something you've been considering and you want to be around serious, growth-minded investors, we encourage you to check it out.
You can find the link in the show notes to learn more about Springboard to Wealth and see if it's a good fit for you. We hope to see you there. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Hate when I run into adults who had that loser mindset of, oh, we can't, like,
I'm tired.
Or I can't do that. Like, oh my gosh, I can't stand. That is one thing y'all have to pray for me on, because, like, I cannot stand that victim. I can't do this, or, well, this is, man. And then you talk to this person, they've never tried anything in their life. You're like, oh my God. Like, man, I swear I don't. Like,
pray for him.
For real, that's like my number one thing. Like, man, that's why, like, if in my office, I have nothing but Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, and Michael Jordan posters, because all of them, like, Kobe is like my number one dude. He said, I ain't got nothing in common with lazy people. I don't want them around me. I ain't passing you the ball. I see when you come into practice. I see when you leave. People don't like that, but it's the truth. When you start to surround yourself with certain people of, like, who can go get it. And then you get around somebody who's, like, complaining about everything, can't get, like, man, boy, I kind of want to say that Poochie icing line. Get your out my face, man. But yeah.
All right.
But yeah, my bad. But yeah, that's my soapbox. Yeah, mindset is everything. And we do have mindset coaches that we get on calls with every week, so that does help us.
It does, yeah. For sure. But yeah, I think we talked about a lot when it comes to raising kids and them being so different and just focusing on their mindset.
They're definitely different.
Giving them new opportunities, exposing them to new things, and most of all, talking to them, just explaining things to them. As we, like Myka just said, like, fail, get up and learn from it and keep going. We can talk to our kids about those things, about what we messed up on. If we messed up, if I felt bad about, the whole ride thing, I can come to my kid and be like, here's why mommy did that. And I can, even if I didn't feel bad, I was able to explain to him, like, what happened. I didn't feel bad. But if I did something to, like, feel bad, I like just talk to your kids about it. I know kids are very fragile, but they're so resilient at the same time.
Straight up.
A lot of times, all you really need to do is talk to kids and let them know, and also keep them in the loop. You know, it's the worst thing. I know when I grew up in a pretty toxic household, and I remember the worst part being not knowing what was going on. Like, I felt it's like if someone would have explained to me, like, hey, y'all, like, not saying give kids all the details of everything, but you can explain what's going on. You know, we just sat down tonight. It could be as simple as, hey, like, you know, we just had a loss in the family. This is who passed. You and daddy are going to be going to Chicago. Me and mom are going to be here. Here's what we're going to be doing when we get back. We're going to be focusing and locking back in. So that way, you know, as things are changing and things are happening, your kids aren't just sitting here like, well, I know, you know, we're doing these things, but now it's like I can now say, hey, yeah, I'm feeling sad. If you have any sad feelings, let me know. Going to the funeral, Mike is going to be checking in with our son, you know, going to a funeral, like, how you feeling? Any thoughts going through your head? You know, well, I'm here if you want to talk. And just like kind of keeping the door open for your kids to know that you're there and available. I don't think you can really mess up if you're doing those things.
Yeah, you tap in with them. You know what I'm saying? Just tap in with them, see what's going on, what they going through. Like, sometimes I do this. I fail at it a lot, like, because I be busy. Like, when I pick them up from school, like, chop it up with them about the day. Like, how was your day? Anything go on? Oh, I learned this. You know, just chop it up with them. Because I know I didn't really chop it up with my parents. They just say, how's your day? And go on about your business. Like, it was cool. You know, but that was the household. And I think, like you said, you came from a traumatic household. I don't want to say I came from a traumatic household, but, you know, there were certain things I picked up on. You know what I'm saying? So it was just little things that I agree with, some things I didn't agree with. You know, the family meeting thing I agree with. That's what we implemented in our household.
Mm-hmm. We didn't have no family meeting growing up. There was none of that going on.
Well, none of that going on.
But no, honestly, I'll say this. I know, like, when it comes to parenting, a lot of people want to start off really gentle with your kids. And as they grow up, they want to, like, get more strict. I'm going to tell you right now, I am just a parent for the first time, but I've seen a lot of parents raise children, and the outcome in that is a fail. Please, that's a fail. When they're babies, when they become of that age where they're understanding and comprehending, if you don't know what that age is, ask your pediatrician. Is my kid able to identify what I'm saying and understand right from wrong and what I'm telling them? Usually it's around age 3 and 4. So around that age, that's the time to start implementing, like, strict parenting. And that's the foundation of getting them prepared to listen to you. Because if you wait until they're 8, 9, 10, and now you want to be trying to tell them what to do after you just let them, you know, walk across tables at a restaurant or do backflips in the back pew at church, and now they're at this big age and you want to try to tell them what to do, it's not going to work out for you. You're going to be one of them parents who just completely give up and you just pray and give it to the Lord at that point because you lost all reign. So...
See, forget a pediatrician. See, like Bernie Mac said, we need Big Mama back. We need some old grandmas back. They understand at 2 years old. They know what the heck going on. Yeah. No, I'm playing. But
you know when I said put that down, what that meant.
Yeah, I ain't going. But I'm gonna be real, man. The age of parents too, bro. Like,
yeah. What'd you say earlier, Mike? We pulled up to somebody. She's like, oh, one of them YN parents.
Crazy. Nah, I could tell, dude, one of them YN parents, man. But nah, like, you know. The younger, you know, you got, okay, it's people our age or a little bit older as grandparents now. You like, bro, heck no. Like, there ain't no way you need to be a grandparent. Like, where's the 60 and 70-year-old grandparents, man? Like, but I'm happy, like, our kids' grandparents are in their 60s and late 60s, not just now.
Yeah, on that side, not on my side.
Yeah, but still, even Pops, he's pushing 60, but they still have their great grandma on their side. They still, and grandma, great, shout out to grandma. Grandma is actively involved in their life. So they still get old school wisdom from a lot of different ways. You know what I'm saying? So, but like, shoes, man, like a lot of these young grandparents, 37 years old, and like, whoa, player, but that's what it is nowadays. But yeah, we got to trust the pediatrician nowadays. But man, I will say this. If your grandparents are alive, get all the wisdom you can from them. Because, boy, that will help you in parenting, in my opinion.
If they got it.
Yeah. Because what do you say? What if the whole village? Yeah, I ain't going to say that. But, yeah. But, anyway, yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there. Don't wait too late to start parenting your children. Um, and when I say parenting, like there's a whole umbrella under parenting. That doesn't just mean food and clothes and shelter. Like we're responsible for the next generations. So please do y'all's part. I'm doing my part over here the best we can. I don't want a bunch of freaks out here. We already got a bunch. We don't need to keep getting a bunch of freaks out here. They don't know how to listen to nobody.
Wow.
Shout out to the Gen Zers. I'm just kidding.
I'll be real. I think the Gen Zs, I kind of understand, but I think there'll be some good Gen Z parents. I think every generation has sensible people.
Yeah.
You know, I think every
At the end of
generation
the
has
day.
simple people. Yeah, like I don't like the whole soft thing. Like when jokes come around, they get a look, man, get up out of here, bro. Like,
Oh, you mean them being sensitive, or
yeah, like I don't know if I don't think all of them are like that, but like
they
that
are
whole,
sensitive? Not gonna lie.
well, I guess I'm about to ask you a question. In your expertise, how have you seen Gen Zs?
Oh man, Gen Zs are sensitive, bro. Like, and they got horrible customer service if you go shopping. Like,
What would make them sensitive if they got horrible customer service? Like if you say something to them, they gonna cry in a corner, or what you saying?
oh well, different categories, but like customer service is its own lane, and the sensitivity is in its own lane.
Okay,
I got a Gen Zer in my life right now who's not talking to me for like going on a month because I didn't like their tattoo.
stop.
They be sensitive, bro. I know Gen Zers who aren't talking to their mom right now because they told them they couldn't borrow something.
I think that's more of a.
I see Gen Zers online
I don't know. I'm gonna be real.
crying a river.
What you just said about like borrowing something, those usually be family members with mental problems. Meaning, even our generation used to do that. Like they call and ask everybody in the family for $20. Everybody tell them no. They get on Facebook, make a post.
Talk about everybody.
Yeah, F my family. Like, bro, just because Ray and them wouldn't give you $20, now you mad at everybody, knowing you won't. Me, yeah, I get you on that though. But yeah, some of them be like tripping. But yeah, I ain't really
don't know.
around.
I believe that they're sensitive because it's like if your opinion's different than theirs, it's just like they can't handle it. They can't handle a difference of opinions. They can't really handle you not agreeing with them. But still, like even when they were younger, I saw that generation thinking they knew everything. Even at young ages, like as teenagers and stuff, that generation was really like thinking they really just knew everything. I know they say all generations think they know everything, and I'm sure, the Gen X would have things to say about us millennials, but that's just how I'm taking y'all.
Do you think millennials help birth Gen Zers though?
I mean, I'm sure they
birth the mentality of it.
I'm sure because I know that we have spoke before about how like each generation's kind of building off the next generation's back in a way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sure there's traces of us there, but if that's the case, we're taking responsibility. We messed y'all up.
Yeah. I see a lot of, I'm going to keep it a buck. I've seen a lot of millennials who don't take responsibility. They have so many, like, I'm going to be real. Millennials who complain about baby boomers, I'd be like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, millennials, I hear a lot of millennials, like, complain about, like right now, because we talked about this on our notes, and I don't want to get off subject, but, like, we talked about, like, the cost of living is really low if you're willing to be uncomfortable. Like, I hear a lot of millennials say they blame the baby boomers for stuff, but I'm like, if you look from our lifetime, there has been like multiple transfers of wealth to millennials. If you were, and it goes back to our earlier conversation, if you were positioned right and moving in the right direction, like COVID, that was like a great time to have certain businesses, not storefronts, those got hit, but certain businesses did great during COVID. The financial crisis of 2008, actually, they were basically giving houses away for free to millennials. I think a big part of educating yourself on what's going on and being able to educate yourself and then pass that to the next generation of learning how to look for the opportunity, which is grit, resilience, the things we're trying to teach our kids. I think that goes a long way into it, because I think a lot of millennials, they be trying to point the finger, oh, this happened to us.
Yeah.
I'll be like, bro, if you look at like every financial thing that's happened, if you were willing to invest in investing yourself, there's some good things that come out. Yes, some people got the bad end of it, but if you got the bad end of it, what did you learn? You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of millennials play victim too. Gen Zers, I don't associate with a lot of Gen Zers, so I'm going to be real. I don't really know that generation. Our children aren't Gen Zers. They're the other one. I forgot whatever they're called. But, yeah, I think there's, I'm not going to all the way talk bad to them because I always think there's good. They might be alpha. Yeah, they might be alpha. So, yeah, I do think there's always good and bad in every generation. But, like, millennials, we got to take some of our licks, too. Because, yeah, we be on some BS sometimes.
We're not going to talk about us.
Yeah, we ain't going to talk about us.
No, I'm just kidding. That's a millennial.
I'm a millennial. We be on some BS.
I'll say just less time pointing fingers in general and more time educating and kind of helping each other with information so that way we can help the next generation who's coming up right now. So I think if all the generations that are still here come together to do our part, that's the best thing we can do. I know a lot of people personally who don't even agree or see differences within the generations. They don't believe in that. They almost see that like looking at horoscopes, kind of like, it doesn't really factor. So it depends on who you are and what you believe. I do see similarities in certain generations.
Ooh, okay. There is one thing about Gen Zers I don't like. Because you talked about when they say something and it's against what they say. Yeah. Now they have it completely wrong. They don't understand. I don't like that they don't understand there's differences in how people grew up. Like a baby boomer seeing different stuff than you. A millennial seeing different stuff than you. So that shapes their opinions. Mm-hmm. It's about having wisdom. But wisdom is dying in their generation because they have so much information. And that's just information. Information's great for the time being, but you have to have wisdom behind it. Okay, how did we get here? Mm-hmm. Man, I could go on a very tangent about that, but I guess we're getting close to time. But I can go on a whole tangent about that. But yeah.
Really good episode. We really loved chatting about this with you guys. We'd love to hear in the comments what y'all think. Yeah. I know we had a lot of strong opinions in this episode. So if you think different, we're always down to hear differences of opinions. It's not our way or the highway. So we can't wait to see what y'all think and your opinions on these topics.
Yeah. And you think, we ain't even let out any of our strong opinions. But yes, we keep it PG. But yeah, thank y'all for continuing in, and remember to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and we will continue to drop those comments and those videos, and check out our EntrepreMarriage Facebook community. We are out.
If this conversation resonated with you and you want to go deeper,
join us inside the EntrepreMarriage Inner Circle on Patreon. You'll find the link in the show notes. And while you're here,
make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss future episodes.
You can also join our EntrepreMarriage Facebook community. The link is in the description to keep the conversation going between episodes.
Thanks for watching.
Until next time,
keep building wealth
without losing the marriage.